GRPD officer Christopher Schur charged with second-degree murder in shooting death of Patrick Lyoya. This like weird shooting death. What is this language? This is obviously from Fox 17, but in GR's Grand Rapids, Michigan. But what is a shooting death? He shot and killed the motherfucker. It's not okay, he shot Patrick Lyoya, and then, completely unrelated, he happened to die. The language that they always, even if he's being charged with murder, even if he's on camera murdering someone, they're always going to use this, super vague fucking language. And it's insane. Grand Rapids police officer who shot and killed Patrick Lyoya following a traffic stop and struggle. That is, they just use words, struggle. What does struggle mean? I don't know. On April 4, will be charged with 1 count of second-degree murder, the Kent County prosecutor announced Thursday afternoon. Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker says his office is charging Officer Christopher Schur with second-degree murder for the shooting death of Lyoya. Once again, it needs to be understood that 98.3% of the time, police officers do not get charged. So that means approximately, 1.7% of the time, police officers get charged. And then within that small amount of officers that do get charged, right? I don't know what the exact number is, but I believe it's even a smaller, insignificant fraction of police that do get charged that actually end up being convicted. So, this is a story that people in the area definitely need to keep following because they're going to try their best to get him off of this, for sure. Prosecutor Becker made the announcement at a press conference at the Michigan State Police Grand Rapids headquarters Thursday afternoon. According to Becker, Schur has already turned himself in. Records show Schur turned himself in to the Calhoun County Correctional Center. Just before 2 p.m., he will be arraigned on Friday. The Calhoun County Sheriff's Office said Thursday evening, Schur is in the Calhoun County Jail at the request of the Kent County Sheriff. In the statement, the Sheriff's Office said this is common in situations where someone previously worked for the jurisdiction where they are charged. Those are neighboring counties, it's just whatever. The elements of second-degree murder are relatively simple. First, there was a death. A death done by the defendant. And then, when the killing occurred, the defendant had one of these 3 states of mind: an intent to kill, an intent to do great bodily harm, or the intent to do an act that the natural tendency of that act would be to cause death or great bodily harm. So if you intend to shoot someone, chances are they're going to die. The goal of guns, the goal of using guns, is to kill people. That's it. That's the only use that weapons have in our society, is to kill people. If someone shoots a gun, it doesn't matter what the situation is. And self-defense is a whole different story. But again, Patrick Lyoya was running away and was shot in the back of the head. So if someone shoots a gun, when pulling that trigger, that is, it's possible that someone could survive getting shot. That is correct. But the overwhelmingly more likely situation to occur when someone gets shot is that they die. So when you pull that trigger, that is intent to kill. And if they don't end up dying, that doesn't change the fact that you intended to kill them. And again, if someone is running away from you, self-defense isn't really a thing. And finally, that death was not justified or excused, for example, by self-defense. Taking a look at everything that I reviewed in this case, I believe there's sufficient basis to proceed on a single account of second-degree murder, Becker said. Second-degree murder is a felony charge. Schur faces life in prison with the possibility of parole. Becker says he plans to prosecute the case and will not recuse himself. Following the announcement, attorneys Ven Johnson and Ben Crump held a press conference with Patrick's family. The Kent County prosecutor has certainly never charged another officer, even though there have been a number of shootings with this crime before, how clear he believes the evidence to be. Said Johnson. Johnson said he will get full cooperation from the Lyoya family and their attorneys. Crump released a statement following Becker's announcement. And there you go. So, good news. But again, the state is always going to do everything that they can to try to get their people off. And so, you know, people in the area need to make sure that they don't just leave this one alone. Not to say that they are. From what I understand about the Grand Rapids people is that they're very intent on following this case. But, you know, just gotta keep waiting, I guess. Again, it took about, I think, 11 months for Derek Chauvin to be convicted, if I remember correctly. So this is usually a long process. It doesn't... The thing that we need to understand is even if this character, Christopher Schur, does get convicted, and let's assume that they are sentenced to life in jail, that's not going to fix policing in this country. And that's not going to stop it from happening again. So, I mean, we saw a situation, I just covered this the other day, where the situation with Andrew Brown Jr. in Elizabeth City, he was shot in the back of the head as he was running away. And those officers are going to walk away scot-free. So it really does depend on when, where, and how. Like, all the details can be the same, but it doesn't change the fact that police are killing people. They kill approximately 3 people per day in this country. Police kill, on average, over the course of the last couple of years, 3 human beings are murdered at the hands of police every day in this country. That won't change unless people on a grand scale get up and do something about it. But it's always important to try to follow up on these cases of things happening that are not necessarily bad. But again, it needs to be understood that stuff like that shouldn't pacify you. A lot of people did see Derek Chauvin getting convicted, and they're like we're talking about liberals, like Democrats, those kind of people are like, oh, the system is working or whatever. Like that stuff that, don't get pacified by a victory that happens with 1 or 2 cases out of the 1,000 plus cases every year. But anyway, there you go. Got some LaCroix here.